I think we need to stop getting distracted by Dragon Ball Fusion and rescue Eri. Don't you agree?
I mean, personally, I think we should just call in, Ginyu Man. He's clearly the best superhero for the job.
Or tanks.
Yes, tanks.
Oh my god. My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was a pretty good episode.
First half was set up, second half was actually starting the thing.
But the problem is, the villains know they're coming, so saving Eri might not be as easy as they thought.
It might actually be a plotline that goes through both seasons.
Ooh, so,
Or, I'm sorry, the full season.
So, point for me?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. We don't know that yet. I still feel like they might save her and that Overhaul or Overload gets away with the data or whatever. And with Shigaraki's help, they can, start making a substitute version of it. Like, that's where I'm leaning to this going. I think they might get Eri, but the technology still exists and is able to be used. A synthetic version. That's the word I was looking for. They make a synthetic version of it.
So when do you start?
I mean, the first half, there's not much to say other than just that, yeah, they're all having trouble, just especially Midoriya, having trouble just sitting there and waiting for an answer to show up. We get the meeting that's basically like, all right, cool, guys, we're all just going to go in. After the police read the warrant, we're going to bust down the door, we're going to get in. We hear that Night Eye used his quirk to figure out where they were at. After hearing hearing Eri's caretaker walk into a toy store and talk like, what about those girly glittery things? Man, I really want that stuff. Which seems super suspicious for a guy that didn't know the name of things.
Glitter Force! Yay!
Oh, God, it reminded me of fucking, kaiju girls. Ugh.
I actually think it was supposed to be, what's that called? Pretty Cure, which is a yearly Sailor Moon Sentai type thing, but it's anime girls.
I mean, if it was, and it might actually say that in the manga, who knows, because we haven't read that. But it was probably like, well, we don't have the rights to that, so, fucking here we go. It's this new thing. Because
just like the suffix on it, it was like Glitter Force 10 something something, and I'm like, oh, haha, that's a stab at Precure. Oh, I get that reference.
I mean, it's literally any annualized magical girl series is what it sounds like. Which technically you could just throw right back in the face of anything that's annualized over on the boys side of things too. Like Sentai.
Yeah.
The same thing. So yeah, we get insight on him and be like, hey, cool. That's where he's going. I sees it. Problem is, this would be a great way to figure it out, actually, whether or not he can tell the future.
Hold on. And I just found it funny that Night Eye says, oh, I am also a fan of that too, as he's reading the guy's future, and then it's like, well, crap, I have to buy this now.
Yeah, he kind of did. Just to prove the point. If only it was an All Might figure. But then he'd have duplicates, probably. But at least in his case, he'll probably just donate it to some, orphans or whatever, so that they have something to play with. I mean, if nothing else, he's a hero. He's going to do something like that. He's probably not going to keep it. He gets to see the future. This is probably a good opportunity to see how it plays out, too. Because since he's read seen the guy's future, if things change, that means that he's not accurate. That means that his future isn't foolproof. For all we know, he only looked ahead to how far it was before the guy met up with Eri again. If he would have pushed it farther into when they invade the place, they might have been able to avoid something.
Maybe.
But as far as we know, he only went as far as when the guy meets up with Eri.
Oh, and I did like that object freezing guy who was only in one scene as everybody was preparing.
Yeah, the black dude. He's got the dreads.
Oh, Lock, I think his name was.
It's something else. It's something Lock. I'm curious what his skill actually is. Like, is it just freezing something in midair? Or like, just making it ignore gravity? Like, Ochiko kind of does the opposite, where like she takes away everything and it can float. In his case, it looks like it's just stuck straight up in the air because he can just step on it and it doesn't move. Or is that only with certain objects or something? I think his name was Earthlock or something like that, or Rocklock.
Rocklock, yes.
Then it might be, if his name's as obvious as it sounds, it could literally just mean that like he can take rocks or earth and just freeze it in place.
But he throws a beam of wood.
Was it wood or was it like a piece of ground or rock?
I'll have to go back, but I thought it was a piece of wood.
Here we go. Let's see here. Rocklock activates his quirk through protrusions on his fingers resembling key teeth. The quirk is useful for stop. That is a piece of wood. Okay, I just saw it. Is useful for stopping moving terrain at least to a certain point. Lockdown has a limit in terms of object force and size. It also does not affect living beings. Okay. He locks object into a particular point of space, turning the touched object effectively immobile. Okay, so it's literally anything that's not organic, I think. Well, not organic, but not living. So in the case of the wood, it's no longer part of a tree and living. He can freeze it. Interesting. So wait, I guess it keeps its momentum too, because when he steps on it and releases it, it's still moving forward after he releases it.
So if he threw it hard enough, he could technically fly.
He could literally pull a Tao Pai Pai and hurl a pillar, or in Tao Pai Pai's case, it was literally like a tree. He could hurl a tree, stop it, get on the tree, unlock it, and then just like surf on the tree in air as it's flying. So yes, I think he could literally do that if he was strong enough. Fuck it. Let's say All Might decides to throw it if he still had one for all. He freezes it in air, jumps on top of it, unlock it, and he's just whoosh, he's just surfing with it in the air.
I am here in my flying tree.
So you know what? You want to know what makes that even crazier? I'm curious, because from what I'm reading on here of the quirk, there's not much on it, but I'm not sure if he has an amount. Oh, no, here we go. He might not be able to pull off the All Might thing, because the force and the size are what affect this. So at a certain speed, he might not be able to do that. However, I'd be real curious what would happen if he's like, all right, cool. Let me like throw out a blow dart or like an arrow and just freeze the arrow in place. So that way at some point he just has like a wall of arrows that are ready to fire.
Just like Dio's knives.
Exactly. See, you're getting it. He pulls a Dio. The only problem is this is obvious and everyone can see it. So, he'd need some setup or help from another hero to like cloak it from happening.
Or hide around the corner.
Yeah, right? He just hides around the corner, makes a noise. The enemy, it's like, what the fuck is that? Starts walking around. Knives just everywhere. Oh, no, totally. He could totally be a, that's also the thing, right? Rocklock. The minute I heard that name, I'm like, wait a minute, Rock Lee from Naruto? Oh, God, my mind jumped to that stupid place. Oh, by the way, jumping off on like a side tangent here. You would like a certain point in Naruto, because there's a point where all of the ninja literally get a headband that have the kanji for ninja.
Yes! Yes!
I knew you would like that. I forgot it happened. I honestly did until I was reminded while watching Woolly Versus, going through one of the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games. All right, anyway, back to the point.
That would be awesome!
Back to the point.
My Hero Academia.
We've been on a look, all right. We did focus on Lockdown and Rocklock and his abilities, all right. So technically we're still on topic there. Anyway, we get our setup, blah blah blah. Not much to say there in the terms of like, yeah, we're gonna go in and work with everyone together. Cool. We get to the point where they start knocking on the door and are like, we're gonna read the warrant. And the next thing we know, big muscle dude just breaks down the door and is like, the fuck do you guys want? God, I'm tired.
Is he a Nomu? Or?
I don't think so. He doesn't seem as insane as the Nomu that we've seen before. Also, I'm pretty sure he was there before Shigaraki ever met up with them. So I don't think so. The Nomu don't seem to have, like, the ability to speak or anything.
Oh, maybe he just got so big and powerful because he injected himself with some of the enhancing drugs.
It could very well be that. It could just be that he has, like, a big muscle quirk.
Because I did see the trailer for next week, somebody injecting themselves.
Yeah, it was the little dude. I think the little dude injected himself.
And was it explained why Overhaul's posse has the plague mask? Is it because he's a germaphobe, or is that just their style?
That's a solid question, and I don't know. It's never been explained. It could be that he's a germaphobe and it just became, like a symbol. Yeah, I'm curious where this goes because, we get a bust in. We have some core heroes fighting the other ones. Oh, we got to see what Dracnoid is, or Dracoid, or whatever her name is. She literally turns into a dragon. It's kind of neat. So yeah, it seems like her as well as Ochako and her team are gonna be helping on the outside for now, while the others head inside. Yeah, there's not much to say about this episode. I mean, voice acting solid, animation solid for what little action there was. Music's good. It's a decent setup to get into the main core of that's in the next episode, where we get real fights, which seems like we're gonna get Sun Eater's fighting someone. So we're gonna actually see him go and get his own episode of a fight. I'm really curious to see how that goes down, especially since he got fed swordfish right before they started going in.
He was saying, "Why is it swordfish? Shouldn't it be obvious?"
I mean, specifically why swordfish would be curious.
So he could have a sword arm.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, but why that? Why not something more, versatile?
Like what?
Wings? Chicken? Why not, a turtle, so he can, have a turtle shell for protection? Does Fat Gum know something that's gonna happen, that he's gonna need a sword arm? Or need to swim, potentially?
Oh.
Why specifically the swordfish? What is that going to do for him, and why did Fat Gum have a feeling he would need it?
We'll find out next week.
Well, obviously. If not next week, the week after that, because I don't know if this is a 2-part fight or not.
Well, maybe we'll start to find out next week.
Who knows? I'm very curious to see how this goes down, because I want to see how he can fight. Because his quirk's really versatile with what it can do. So, what happens if he eats a rhino?
What would that do?
Does he get real thick and get a horn?
Oh.
Oh my, I'm really curious now, actually. What are the limits of that quirk? So here's what I'm thinking, right? And this is me, putting on my crazy creative hat right now. Let's just say he got his hands on, a fossilized thing. And, he shaved off a bit of the bone or whatever, say a T-Rex or something. Shaved off a bit of the bone, threw it into some water so he could actually eat it, and drank that down. Could he then transform into a T-Rex, or, parts of a T-Rex?
Whoa.
Or does it have to be, the meat?
I don't know.
If it's just the DNA, he could literally take any animal in existence and do this. So long as he had some piece of its DNA. Whether it's bone, whether it's, flesh, organs, even a hair. Even literally All Might's hair. Wait, hold on. If he eats, the hair of somebody with a quirk, can he technically get that quirk? Or am I going way too deep into this?
I think you're going way too deep.
Okay, then he could just transform into, could he at least, make himself look like the person then?
So cannibalism?
I'm saying, a hair. I'm not going, flesh levels here. Because I don't know specifically what would allow him to do this. I don't know if it needs to be flesh. Because if it's just a hair, he could literally be a spy and turn into somebody. The other question would be, can he fully transform? Because we haven't seen that either. Because if so, he could just eat a cat hair or something and become a cat and spy.
I don't know.
You know what? I'm curious now. I'm gonna search. I'm just really curious about your abilities, sir. Okay, so he can actually choose which one it is from the sound of it. Manipulate feature selection, size manipulation, and simultaneous manifestation. Manifest. Quirk grants him the ability to manifest the characteristics of anything he eats while it still remains in his system. After vigorous training, is capable of using multiple manifestations at once, controlling the size of it, as well as being able to accurately choose the best feature for whatever he has eaten and given the situation. Only limited by what's still in his system, before the food digests, and potency. It doesn't actually tell us if it needs to be flesh or not.
Well, it did
It just
say,
says food.
and I don't consider hair food.
Well, I mean, that's because we're trying to get down to what it actually is. Because if it's the DNA, it could literally be any piece of the animal, or I guess person too. If it needs to be flesh, well, it also says food. Can he like take plants in then too? Because we only see him use meat.
Potentially.
I'm super curious now.
So come back with us next week for another action-packed adventure with My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Outro! Yay!
Boop boop a doo doo boo. Boop a doo boop a doo.